Hi, I'm Ryan Daws, Senior Editor at TechForge Media, and with me today is Piero Molino, who is the CEO and founder of Predibase. So, Piero, can you tell me what the key objective of Predibase is?
Sure, absolutely. Happy to. We're building a declarative machine learning platform. And what that means is that an approach to make it easier for organizations to do machine learning, both organizations that have experts in-house that can be super powered by our platform and making development times that usually last 6 months, 9 months, a year into like days. But also for developers who want to add machine learning to their products, but they're not machine learning experts themselves. Both of them can find a lot of value in Predibase because it makes it easy to do machine learning instead of having to write low-level machine learning code, tens of thousands of lines of PyTorch, TensorFlow, something like that. Developers can write a really simple configuration file. It's a YAML file, and that contains 10 lines of a specification of the scheme of the data, and that's all they need to actually get started with the first model.
Amazing. That sounds much better to me. So I believe you guys have had a major launch here at the Expo. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. Right now we are coming out with our general availability version of the platform, and the platform built on top of open source. So the system for that manages the configuration files is called Ludwig. It's in the open source. It's backed by the Linux Foundation. And what the platform that we are, announcing and giving general availability of does is builds on top of it and makes it easy for organizations to adopt this approach with declarative machine learning in the cloud. And so what it does is abstracts away the complexity of provisioning infrastructure, so you can run the same jobs for training and deployment and inference of your models on one CPU machine or 1,000 GPU machines, and it's all transparent to you. It's just a choice from a drop-down menu. It makes it easy to connect with data sources wherever the data is. Data warehouses, databases, object stores, structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data, all of that is like fair game for us. It makes it easy to iterate over the models. So it's designed for teams to collaborate on developing models. So each single model is a configuration, and you can have multiple versions over time that multiple people contributed to. And so you can look at the lineage, the difference between them, the difference in the performance of the models. And once you're happy with a model that has enough performance for your use case, then you can go and deploy it for both real-time prediction as a rest endpoint and for batch prediction, where you can run queries that are SQL-like queries, but include prediction. So you can say, select the customers from my customers table, the ones that spent more than $1,000 last month, and predict if they're going to churn next month, all from one SQL-like language.
It sounds like you've just got just about all of it covered. You touched on it a little bit earlier, but how important is low code to machine learning adoption?
Yeah, so I think it's fundamental because the number of experts can build machine learning from scratch on their own is limited. And to make these kind of capabilities widely available in the industry and making so that machine learning models can actually have an impact in and have a high return of investment, we need to make it simpler. And low code is the way to go for that. In particular, if every single project that you want to try to develop takes 6 months to a year, obviously you're never gonna be incentivized to even test out the hypothesis that an hypothetical use case could actually be super valuable for a company, but it's just too expensive to even try, right? And so I think lowering the bar is fundamental to trying more and finding more what's sticky, and to increase the return of investment, because if now it takes a couple of days, well, the return doesn't need to be as high as it was before to actually be valuable to even try, right? So that's how I believe declarative and low code is important.
And we're seeing a lot of interest in large language models. What trends are you seeing there?
Yeah, so I would say since last November, more or less, everybody, I would say, have tried to interact with one of these large language models, right? Being it through ChatGPT or like other APIs from other vendors. They're really extremely powerful and really revolutionizing the way that people are approaching thinking even about AI and machine learning, right? Because up until now, in most cases, people would have had to collect some data and label the data before even trying to train a machine learning model. But now they have an API that they can query and get their predictions from this model directly, right? And that is amazing. Apple opens up a lot of possibilities, and we will see soon enough like flourishing of many applications and many products that integrate in these APIs. At the same time, there are some limitations. And so these limitations are around, one is limitation around the cost. Paying per query is not super scalable in particular for organizations that have thousands, if not millions of data points per second that they need to deal with. Another limitation is the inference speed. These models are still pretty slow, in the orders of a few seconds for getting answers. And again, with streaming data, this doesn't really jive with that, right? And the final aspect is that because they are provided as APIs, in many cases, companies will have to give up their data to these third parties. And in some cases, may not even be feasible at all, right? For like private data and for data that is like really valuable and IP of companies, they may not be willing to do that, right? And so what we are introducing in our new release is a mechanism so that our customers can deploy large language models in their virtual private cloud so that they are private and data never need to leave their cloud, really. And we also have a mechanism for hand-holding them to first query the models, then using them for few-shot learning when you give just a few examples of what you want them to achieve, all the way down to fine-tuning them and also compressing them so that they can have really fast inference speed and lowering the cost. So also lowering the barrier for adopting these large language models in the industry.
Great. And we're seeing a lot of businesses obviously jumping into machine learning for the first time. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you're seeing them make?
Yeah, so I would say the expectations, in some cases, there's a mismatch between expectations and what actually is achievable. And some of the errors that I see people doing is like jumping right into it without having had like a full understanding of the data and a full understanding of the use case and also the business use case, not only like the technical use case, but also the business use case. And so one thing that we do in particular, both with the open source project and also in our platform, is that we make it very easy to test hypotheses for people. And so we integrate both the data aspect and understanding the data with the capability of quickly training models to like validate the hypothesis these models could be useful for the task. And so because of the declarative nature of the configuration file, all the, let's say, good practices around both data and modeling are already baked in. So it's kind of like having guardrails so that you don't shoot yourself in the foot, right? And I think that more of these guardrails will make it possible, again, for people with less experience to be able to do machine learning as well as people that are more experienced.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on the general availability launch of your platform, and hope you have a good rest of the show.
Thank you very much for the
Pleasure.
interview.